Well, you've probably seen them everywhere. Those cheap ceramic statues of the Virgin Mary. It's a common fixture of gardens and grottos and Grandma's house. In the ordinary version, the safe version, Mary's skin is peach colored, and her hair is brown or black. Her face is plain and unadorned, and her robes are blue. There are, of course, other versions, like the Red Maria. A Red Maria's skin is white as snow, but its hair, robes, and lips are a crimson color. I saw one for the first time when I was 8 years old. It had been set up in the alcove at the end of the narrow hallway that led to our 3 closet-sized bedrooms. One bedroom was for my mother, one for my sisters Veronica and Esmeralda, and one for me. My mother told me that the Red Maria was there to protect us, but that pale statue didn't make me feel safe. It made me feel watched. Its black painted eyes seemed to follow me, and the nightlight my mother placed beneath the Red Maria, it only made it worse. Lit from below, the statue cast eerie shadows on the wall behind. When I crept out of my room to pour water down my parched throat or to use the bathroom, I tried not to look at it, but my eyes were always dragged, almost unwillingly, to the alcove at the end of the hallway. I was terrified of what I might see, because the Red Maria looked different at night. My sisters said that it was just a trick of the light. They said that I was acting like a little baby. They didn't see what I saw. The room was closer to the bathroom at the end of the hallway, and they didn't see the way that the Red Maria's jaw seemed to distend, transforming her mouth into a screaming black pit. They didn't see the twisted shadows that rose above the innocuous ceramic statue at the end of the hallway. Peering around the corner of my bedroom door, I couldn't help but wonder, what if those freakishly long fingers, caused by more than just the night light's glow? What if I looked down the hallway one night and found the alcove was empty? Would I then turn and see the real Red Maria, a monstrous robed woman far too tall for my tiny bedroom, glaring down at me with a garish crimson smile? My mother reassured me that these were only childish fears. At my age, she explained that it was normal to be afraid of statues and puppets and other denizens of the uncanny valley. It was only the statue of Maria. It couldn't hurt me. I did my best to believe her, until the Red Maria started moving around after dark. Some nights I'd wake to a hard sound, like a ceramic robe scraping across hallway tiles. Whenever I'd work up the courage to peer into the corridor, well, the Red Maria would be gone. Once I found it in the bathroom beside the dripping faucet, and another morning, I nearly fell over backwards when it appeared inside my laundry bin. A few weeks before my 9th birthday, I woke up with the undeniable sense there was presence in my room. I could feel it. Like a hunted animal, I moved slowly my head from side to side, checking my surroundings. There was my disorganized desk, the half-open closet, the lightless television. I gingerly lowered my bare feet onto the tile and felt cold ceramic fingers graze my own. I shrieked loud enough to wake half the household. My mother burst into the room and dashed on the lights, revealing my 2 sisters giggling like mad beneath my bed. The Red Maria stood lifelessly where they had placed it, right beside my hand. My mother made the 3 of us carry the Red Maria back to her alcove together. I remember feeling certain that it weighed much more than it should have. The next morning, my younger sister Esmeralda woke up with a fever, and the games with the Red Maria came to a screeching halt. They went to the doctor, and after that doctor they went to another doctor. But the specialists were all at a loss to discover why my younger sister was sleeping so much, or why she'd become so weak. Esmeralda's bedroom took on the sweet, rotten odor of a sick room, and my older sister, Veronica, moved in with me. The more traditional medicine failed to keep my younger sister. The more my mother turned to her faith for answers, well, suddenly the Red Maria was more important than ever. As the weeks of Esmeralda's illness dragged into months, the alcove at the end of the hall became more like a shrine, overhung with rosaries perfumed with incense, cluttered with ruby-colored carnations. I still felt like there was something off about the Red Maria, like it was something more or less than a humble representation of the Mother of God, but above all else, I felt guilty. If only I hadn't been so afraid of that stupid statue, maybe my little sister wouldn't have stayed up late trying to tease me with it. Maybe if she had gotten more sleep, she never would have gotten sick. I was only 9 years old, but I understood cause and effect. I couldn't shake that feeling that somehow all of this was my fault. I knew now. There were far more frightening things in the world than a lifeless ceramic statue. Things like inexplicable diseases and hospital debt and collectors, or the pink slip that my mother received from her job as a janitor that September. I took over most of the cooking and cleaning, and Veronica dropped out of school to work illegally in a restaurant. Esmeralda only woke to eat a tiny amount of food, or use the restroom, and then return to bed. After months of inconclusive testing, my mother no longer believed that anything but faith could save her daughter. So much happened to the rest of our family that fall that I didn't dare tell anyone what was happening to me. Faced with my mother's unemployment and Veronica's exhaustion or Esmeralda's illness, what right do I have to complain about a few nightmares? If they were nightmares, every night a shadow would pass in front of my bedroom. It hovered for a moment in front of my door, blocking the nightlight's feeble glow, and then drifted by as soundlessly as smoke. In those moments, I clenched my sheets until my knuckles went white, praying that Veronica would just wake up so I wouldn't have to face this horror alone, but she never did. Instead, I'd hear a groan of Esmeralda's bed springs, like something heavy that just slithered onto her mattress. Whatever it was responsible for my sister's illness. I was sure of it, just as I was sure that no adult ever believe my story about an evil statue or moving shadows. Lying in my bed with only a thin wooden door between that shadow and me, I forced myself to wiggle one toe, and then another, and then my whole foot. Once I had overcome my fear enough to place my feet on the floor and stand up, I knew that I could face whatever waited in that hallway. I clutched a flashlight in one hand, a rosary and a child-sized pocket knife in the other. The shadow could move quickly, but so could I. I stuck my head into the hallway just in time to witness a formless black shape squeeze into Esmeralda's room. The realization that the impossible thing I was seeing was actually real washed over me like icy water. Maybe what my mother had said was true. The statue couldn't hurt me. But maybe the thing that dwelt inside of it could. I thought of my little sister's dimpled face giggling under my bed. It had been the last time I had seen her smile. I sucked a lungful of air down my dry throat and I threw open my sister's door. When the beam of my flashlight cut through the inky blackness of my little sister's bedroom, I caught just a glimpse of it. The Red Maria from my nightmares. Its jaw open snake wide as it sucked something smoke-like out of Esmeralda's mouth. The moment the light hit it, it twisted its face into a grotesque expression of hatred and vanished. A shriek pierced the silence. The scream was Esmeralda's, and it felt like it would never stop. Even cradled in my mother's arms, my little sister kept screeching until only a wheeze moaned up from her raw lungs. She collapsed into a sleep. She was pale and exhausted. My mother hit me for the first time that night. She hit me so hard that the flashlight flew out of my hand. Didn't I understand the condition my sister was in? How could I even ever think of risking her health with some absurd nighttime game? My mother finally stopped shaking me. I was seeing stars. She hugged me and cried and then dragged herself back to bed without a word. She had a job interview in the morning. As I collected the broken flashlight's batteries and tiptoed out of my sister's room, I could have sworn that the Red Maria's smile was wider and more crimson than usual. I had to find another way. The extra chores I received as punishment for disturbing Esmeralda's rest provided the perfect excuse. I just knocked that hateful statue over with a broom. I could say that it was an accident, and whatever extra punishment I got for that, well, it would be worth it. The Red Maria, however, it didn't break. It didn't even crack. Even when I smashed my aluminum baseball bat into its delicate features again and again, instead of shattering ceramic, I heard a whisper of laughter, and when I blinked, I saw a horrific vision of what would happen to me that night. And the Red Maria enjoyed a sweet, slow revenge on me. I walked back downstairs into the living room. I felt hollow, sure that... What should I do with myself? I just didn't know. I'd never seen death up close or even thought about it, and certainly nothing so visceral as the gory images that just flashed through my mind. I didn't want to die. I didn't want to close my eyes and wake up somewhere as dark and empty as inside that ceramic statue. Yet if I didn't do something, if I didn't somehow free my family from the Red Maria before nightfall, well, I had no doubt that I would be dead before dawn. I could already imagine it. 9-year-old me, huddled in the television's blue glow with my flickering flashlight, watching a blacker-than-black figure trickle into my room. Whatever it did to me, and it would look like an accident, I was sure of it. And the thing inside the Red Maria would continue to drain Esmeralda of all of her life's energy. I had to act fast. Veronica would be home from work in a few hours, and my mother would return from her job search at any time, and I'd bundle that Red Maria into a heavy trash bag. Its angry whispers resounded in my ears. At any moment I expected tendrils of shadow to creep out from the thin plastic and slither down my throat. Did my best to keep the covered statue beneath bright light. I rummaged into my closet. Beneath mothballed stuffed animals and cardboard boxes of football memorabilia, I finally found what I was looking for, a red wagon that Veronica had pulled me around in when I was a toddler, armed with this hand-drawn free sign. I wheeled Red Maria to the trashiest street corner I knew of. Anything from a bedbug-ridden mattress to a armless office chair would disappear if left there overnight, and I had a sneaking suspicion that it was where my mother did a lot of her holiday shopping. A broken lamp and abandoned Barbie Jeep already waited on the corner, cast long, eerie shadows in the late afternoon sun. I unbagged the Red Maria, bound the sign around her neck. I hoped for the best. I walked home and I couldn't help but feel sure that this Red Maria would be waiting for me, a smile on its crimson lips. But instead, I found that my mother and both of my sisters were gone. My mother's heels were by the door, and Veronica's work hat and keys lay on the table, and Esmeralda's sickbed was empty. Panic rose in my chest. Had the Red Maria taken my whole family? The front door creaked open and my mother, she rushed into the house and hugged me. Behind her, Esmeralda was swinging from Veronica's arm, asking if she could go back to school and see her friends yet. My little sister's mysterious illness had vanished. It had vanished as suddenly and as strangely as it appeared. Everyone thought that it was a miracle. Everyone but me. I was just as thrilled as my mother and sister about Esmeralda's recovery, until I thought more deeply about what it might mean. The Red Maria was with another family now. Someone had picked it up from the junk corner. Someone in search of a decoration, a symbol of faith, or maybe just a cheap gift. My little sister was safe because the Red Maria had found another victim.